Hi, welcome to 15 Rock. I'm Gautam, I'm the co-founder of 15 Rock, and I've spent the last 20 years working with complex financial instruments such as derivatives and other investments, doing risk and modeling for some of the most sophisticated banks in the world and financial institutions, including hedge funds. And for about half a decade, my team and I have been focused on applying that same level of risk management and sophistication to corporate sustainability. We believe that climate change is a major problem. It's not just going to disrupt life and cause suffering, it's also going to cause enormous geopolitical destabilization. This will affect a lot of things that we take for granted in the world, such as operating in a world that's relatively peaceful. We think we can decrease the impact of climate change and the consequences if we act today in an action oriented way. The problem we find right now is that a lot of stuff out there is just high level pledges where most CEOs either have no plan or often admit to not knowing how they're going to get there. But if the goal is 27 years out, most of them will not be in their current roles. So these pledges need to be started to act on right now. So the world is getting warmer, and despite all the talk around climate change and ESG funds growing and everyone making pledges, temperatures are still rising. They continue to rise and grow. And as temperatures grow quickly, this causes more flooding, droughts, fires, temperature instability, which is causing pain and suffering today in the world. And this is not just on a human level, but it's going to affect supply chains and various things that we take for granted in our day to day. No one will be immune from the impacts of climate change. And people are getting more aware. As people learn more and they get more agitated around this subject, if you're a company or investor that's not following through and just talking, social media may quickly turn against you. You do not want to get in a position where you're having to battle a narrative as opposed to you just sharing what you're doing and controlling it. The world understands that we're not at a good spot today, but they're more accommodating to companies actually making progress and trying to make progress than ones simply making pledges and forgetting about it. So what exactly does 15 Rock do? I think you understand the problem we're trying to solve. So 15 Rock works with companies and investors, and we take companies' targets and help turn them into goal. So what exactly is a good goal? So we believe that any goal needs to have a target. You need to know where you are, and you need a definitive time to get there, just like a normal project. So saying I plan to lose weight is not as good as saying I plan to lose 5 pounds by the end of the year. And I currently weigh X and my target weight will be here by the end of the year. And that's how we structure our goals. We look at where they are today, which can be constantly changing. We look at where they want to be, and we look at the timeline to get there. And once we have the goal locked in, we move to step two. And step two is to take plans and connect them to the goal. Just like having a fitness goal that relies on you not doing any working out or eating healthy or changing anything in your diet would probably not get you to where you want to be. A goal without a plan is basically nothing. It's completely useless. And we believe that as companies get more media on their implementation, this could be either really good for some of them or not so good. So what's a plan? For us, a plan needs to have a definitive project, kind of like an outcome and a milestones in the project. So saying you're going to convert 100 trucks in your factory to electric trucks would give you a KPI of 100. And as you update your trucks, you could just say updated 1, 2, 3, and so on. That's good. But then we also need to know, when is this project going to be done? Again, without targets, these just become vague promises. And we also need to know how they're connected to your goal. So I could tell you that I plan to lose weight by drinking beer and watching Netflix, but that's not really probably going to get me to my goal. I couldn't tell you how that would help me lose weight to get to my target. And similarly, you need to articulate and quantitatively how the project is going to connect to your goal. And through that, step 1 and 2, you have a very, very powerful solution where it's extremely flexible and an entire organization and around the world and distributed divisions can operate towards the same goal. In fact, this is a way that Amazon, Google, and many of the leading companies in the world actually operate their regular businesses. They set objectives and everyone aligns to this. And most people in corporations would be very familiar with this approach. What we also do is we connect these projects and goals to specific securities and investments. So you can make business decisions to say, what is the ROI of reducing emissions? And what is the cost of this project? And if one is better than the other, if the project is cheaper, then you go for it. It makes it very easy to make that decision. And we've done all the financial modeling and all the technology to handle this at scale. This gives investors as well as stakeholders internally and externally full visibility on the path to the climate pledges. So 15 Rock, the way to think about us best is think of us as two sides. We are a data firm that gathers information. Most companies self-disclose to us. And we also have state-of-the-art analytics that lies on top of that data. We gather data at scale, we clean and we organize it, and then we connect this to valuations, risk, as well as providing recommendations of projects in an automated way. And companies are using us in different ways right now. Some companies just use us for data gathering, like use our system. Others use us for analytics on top of their own data, and most use for both. And both are available to everyone on our platform. So we are the only platform that tracks use of proceeds. Companies are talking about this, but they're not actually reporting it in an organized way. We force the data sets to be organized, and we use a lot of machine learning and analytics to make it very easy to understand. So our coverage is unmatched. We have over 20,000 projects and the largest group of companies on our platform. We cover public companies and private, and we're asset class agnostic. We have equities, debt, and real assets. So our technology does not limit companies to having to have a full plan before going to net zero. They don't need to start with a comprehensive plan, just like a fitness objective. If you have a goal, maybe the first step is just to go to the gym once a week. Maybe it's to change and have a salad once a week, and then you build on it. And just like that can snowball, we believe that that is the right approach, and that's the less intimidating approach. And a lot of our companies do not have 100% project coverage. Very few actually do, but they start to do it. And over time, their coverage keeps increasing, either as their emissions go lower or as they get more confident and add more projects that have better coverage. Once we have that data and you just enter our first few projects, we can help forecast and identify opportunities. It can help make it easy to make those decisions and to take those business cases forward. And also within the company, the next point is we align everyone on the same data sets. There isn't this corporate silos that stop talking to each other problem that most companies face. Everyone is focused on the same goal. It is literally, for example, for climate, it would be reducing greenhouse gas emissions. If it doesn't reduce emissions, then it cannot be valued and discussions should not really continue. So by doing this, we actually take a lot of the friction out of the process internally as well. And lastly, we are extremely easy to use. We have a website interface, we have an open API, and we also have integrations with some of the largest solutions out there. And we're always looking for more ways to make it easy for people. So if you have any systems that you like to use that you want us to get the data into, just let us know and we'd be happy to do it. So right now on our feature set, we align to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. We also have TCFD natively built in. And what we do with that is we connect goals and projects to it, which is not done in a dynamic, automated way that we have. So as projects get updated, the TCFD reports also can reflect that. And these reports don't become a static report that gets put to a board once a year, but they're actually live documents that are being dynamically updated. We also allow for, if you have missing data, we have over a decade of experience running machine learning models at some of the largest institutions, and we help fill that data set with our analytics. And lastly, we connect all this together to provide portfolio or company level analytics. So you can actually value things and actually see, is this worth it or not to proceed with a project? And I think as climate projects become very financially focused, then it will become more clear when to do them and when to maybe defer. And lastly, making clear financial decisions and recognizing ROI gives investors and companies a huge advantage. We believe the majority of climate projects do create a positive ROI, but because companies cannot value it, these projects just get pushed aside for suboptimal projects that can be valued today. We want to change that because we do believe that valuation will create impact. Just like companies do things all the time to increase their share value, you can create positive value in your company by just becoming more efficient. And climate, we look at emissions as a byproduct of inefficiency. And along with that, we also see that the public does care about the companies that do better. So there's also another valuation impact on the valuation rounds externally as well. We think both sides actually are connected and they both are in a positive direction. And lastly, we need to act now. I do believe governments are there to help and they will help. But as the situation gets worse and the world gets more destable, there is a possibility that governments will start to overreach and they will start taking drastic actions as people are more and more in risk. If we can act now, we can manage this in a very controlled way. And if we don't, then that's going to be a very scary world for all of us to live in. So thank you so much for hearing me and going through this presentation. I'd love for you to reach out if you have any questions. Please visit us on our site or send me a note. Happy to hear from you, and thank you for your time. Have a good day. Bye-bye.